Okay, guys, these are your notes on entropy and energy flow in the cell, and this is the first part of your Chapter 5 notes. So, how does this affect your human body, and what are the big ideas, the big impacts it has on you? Well, we're going to talk about alcohol real briefly and the enzymes in your liver. So, the liver is your body's detoxification center, and alcohol will be degraded into a non-toxic acetate in your liver using different enzymes. But excessive amounts of alcohol over a lifetime can lead to liver disease and failure, like cirrhosis of the liver. So it's important that your liver is functioning properly and it has the enzymes it needs to break down that alcohol. So we're going to talk about now how enzymes work in a cell and how they affect cell function and how the laws of thermodynamics affect enzyme function. So inputs and outputs of energy and the one-way flow of energy. So what is energy? Energy is the capacity to do work. The first law of thermodynamics states that the total amount of energy in the universe is constant, which means it cannot be created or destroyed, it can only change form. Energy from the sun or from organic substances becomes coupled to thousands of energy-requiring processes in the cell. So it comes from the sun and then it changes forms inside our cell one way or another for us to perform the chemical reactions that we need to be alive. So the second law of thermodynamics, pull up my lovely mouse picture, is that energy flow is spontaneous and it goes from high to low quality forms. So each conversion produces energy, usually heat, and that's unavailable to do work. So as you do your energy conversions, you do release heat. That's why our bodies stay at a constant temperature of about 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit. However, recent science has shown that that has dropped slightly for unknown reasons. And as systems lose energy, they become more disorganized, which is the movement into entropy. So in my little picture of my mouse, in an open system, you've got your mouse here, and it's able to have airflow, you're able to add cheese, and our mouse is able to grow, and it does fine. However, in a closed system, now gases cannot be exchanged, it cannot get food, and so it dies and decomposes, and it goes into many more smaller molecules. So it goes from where it's more organized to where it's less organized through the decomposition. And life will maintain a high degree of organization only because the sun resupplies energy. So just like in the mouse, you have to have energy being resupplied into your system. Without a resupplementation of energy, your system will evolve into chaos, or as in my mouse, death. So up and down energy hills. As cells convert energy, the amount of usable energy changes. So in order to go through these notes, I want to zoom in a little bit on this reaction, and I'm going to talk about this as we go. So plant cells, in a plant cell, the sunlight will drive endergonic reactions that lead to ATP, which then will drive the formation of carbohydrates. So endergonic reactions are reactions that require energy to be added into it or heat to be added into it in order for it to happen. However, during aerobic respiration, the breaking down of glucose is an exergonic reaction which will release the energy and transfer that energy into ATP. So you have opposite reactions here. You've got plants which will take energy in to build molecules, and that's going backwards in terms of the law of thermodynamics, away from entropy, becoming more organized, so it requires energy for that to happen. And then you have aerobic respiration, which takes that that molecule that we've just made and breaks it down, creating less organization, so therefore it's releasing energy going towards the direction of the second law of thermodynamics. But our energy release occurs in many steps. If not, then we would spontaneously combust, and that would be bad for everyone. So we take many small steps to make that happen. Adenosine triphosphate, or ATP, is the energy currency in cells. And it may seem funny that, we say we're adding energy, but really we're adding ATP. What does that really mean? So I'm going to talk about that here. Cells earn ATP during energy-releasing reactions, during exergonic reactions. When you're releasing energy or you're breaking something down, you can earn ATP. And then you can spend it on energy requiring reactions or endergonic reactions. ADP is phosphorylated into ATP, and what phosphorylation means is basically you take a phosphate group and you add it onto something else. ATP will then donate that phosphate group to another molecule and prime it for a specific reaction. So ADP, ATP is the cycle. We've already talked about those. Those weird A's should actually be arrows. I don't know why they didn't transfer, but that's what they should be on your notes. So ADP will make ATP once it's phosphorylated. It will donate that phosphate group and make ADP, and it just cycles through that process. And ATP is considered a good energy carrier molecule because it that third phosphate bond there is pretty weak, and they think that's because of all the negatives on phosphate, and so negatives repel negatives, and you've got 3 groups of 4 negatives stuck together, and so it's going to want to release that, and when it does, it can weaken bonds on another molecule and cause changes to happen that way. So inputs and outputs of substances. The goal is to reach equilibrium, and equilibrium happens when forward and reverse reactions will occur at equal rates. So you're doing it would be like if photosynthesis and cellular respiration were both happening at equal rates, that would be a forward and a reverse reaction going on at the same time. That means there's going to be no net change in the concentration of your products or your reactants, and so the ratio of those products and the reactants will stay the same. Now, we have to talk about a specific type of reaction called a redox reaction. In redox reaction, it involves electron transfers between molecules. One of those molecules will be reduced and the other one will be oxidized. The donor molecule will lose an electron, and therefore it's called being oxidized, and the receptor molecule will gain an electron and be reduced. And redox reactions happen a lot of times, like in many parts of cells. That's what drives photosynthesis and drives cellular respiration during those redox reactions, and that's the forward and the reverse energy reactions that we were just talking about. The other thing that happens in a redox reaction that you see in cellular respiration and in photosynthesis are called electron transfer chains. And during electron transfer chains, molecules will accept or give up electrons in an orderly, stepwise fashion, and it controls the release of energy. So this is where small steps of energy release occur, so you don't have big spontaneous combustion events happening. Electrons will enter it at a higher energy level, and then when they leave the electron chain, they will be at a lower energy level. So it descends an energy staircase as it goes. If you want to know more about that, you can take a biochem class, but I'm not going to go into more detail. Just know that they're high energy when they enter and low energy when they leave. So energy is being transferred. And in my next, we have one more note for this. Metabolic pathways are enzyme-mediated sequences of reactions in cells. So all of the things that control your metabolism, the burning of energy, have to be enzyme-mediated, which means they have an enzyme to control that release of energy and the breaking down of those molecules, and they go through a sequence of reactions in order to have it happen. It just doesn't automatically happen. So in our next video, I will talk about how enzymes actually cause those things to occur.